This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men.
The marriage looks like it's falling apart under insane pressure. Legal, financial, and reputation-shattering pressure. Everyone once believed their bond was bulletproof, locked behind money, fame, and silence, until cracks started showing in public and real damage began happening behind closed doors. And what's blowing it all up isn't just gossip, it's real, and it's spreading fast among the rich and powerful. Sources say the leak has sparked emergency separation strategy meetings, full of shouting and blame instead of calm unity. Documents linked to the Epstein disclosures are now circulating, and Jay-Z's name reportedly shows up inside. Claims tied to the FBI are floating around too, right before he suddenly loses followers and key people start pulling away in silence. Those who usually shape the story are now completely quiet. Over 3 million pages have gone public, dragging up old allegations from the 1990s. Unverified reports even hint at scenes involving several elite figures. Beyonce might still stand beside him in public, but insiders say behind the scenes, she's furious, like heated argument level furious. That kind of reaction doesn't sound like some small misunderstanding, and the timing sure doesn't look like confidence. Whatever's happening now feels way bigger than a PR cleanup. It's deeper, structural, and unstoppable, the kind of shift that changes everything. And even after the leak, that pressure, it's not letting up. It's only getting heavier. The chaos keeps growing because the official explanation sounds too clean and way too weak. They're calling it a routine document release. Just some legal archive dump where random names show up without real meaning and accusations sit untouched. That version spreads fast online, but it completely falls apart once people actually read what's inside those files. The Department of Justice just dropped over 3 million pages tied to Jeffrey Epstein, plus thousands of videos, photos, and hidden reports buried deep in all that are FBI intake notes that specifically mention Jay-Z by name. And not like some passing rumor, his name is linked to a claim describing an intimate encounter from the 1990s involving Harvey Weinstein and a woman who allegedly woke up confused and disoriented. Officials are now admitting that every public submission had to be released, even the ones that could be fake or misleading. But that tiny disclaimer means nothing once the names go public and become searchable. It's over at that point.
You know, I guess he's holding the flag, so he did the right thing for his camp. And but I didn't take it as a real threat. I took it as a flip of a line.
People start connecting dots, phones start blowing up, and PR teams scramble to do damage control. The idea that this will quietly fade away, gone. Once the internet locks in, there's no rewinding it. Consequences start showing instantly, and they're way too specific to call coincidence. Within just a few days of those documents going viral, Jay-Z's Instagram loses more than 100,000 followers, a massive lightning-fast drop that you almost never see at his level. The silence around it only makes it louder. People start watching closely, tracking which major celebs and brand accounts still follow him and which ones suddenly don't. The pattern is obvious, even without anyone saying a word. Speculation blows up online that stars and corporations are quietly cutting ties, slipping away without making public statements. No comment from his team, no denial, no clarification, just silence. And that silence, it becomes evidence all by itself. Insiders whisper that the reaction inside the marriage is instant and explosive. Those follower drops aren't just numbers. They're warning signs flashing red. Insiders insist the marriage isn't protected from that kind of fallout. The real fury, they say, isn't just about the accusation. It's about the exposure, the timing, and the total loss of control over their own story. When the public starts noticing the unfollows and disappearing allies, it sends a loud message that this situation isn't contained anymore. It's spreading fast. And the deeper it spreads, the weaker the usual defenses become. The documents causing all this aren't neat or simple. They're messy, confusing, and dangerous. That chaos is what makes them so threatening. One particular FBI crisis intake report, written years after the alleged event, details a woman saying she was left incapacitated during encounters connected to Epstein's circle, waking up in rooms where powerful men were present. Her memory is described as foggy, uncertain, but the implication? Heavy enough to shake everyone involved. The report isn't backed by any law enforcement conclusions, but it's out there, archived, released, and now flooding every corner of the internet through screenshots and reposts. Another batch of files drops, this time pointing to an alleged 1996 incident at Epstein's Florida property involving Weinstein, with Jay-Z supposedly present. These aren't convictions, just claims, but the level of detail makes them radioactive. The Justice Department admits it can't filter submissions for truth under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Everything submitted has to be made public, real or not. That explanation might sound procedural, but to the people caught in it, it's a nightmare. Industry lawyers are whispering that once your name lands next to Epstein's, there's no nuance left. Just the connection alone forces damage control. Emergency audits, legal checks, and frantic PR planning kick in overnight. And this is where the story stops matching the calm front being shown to the public. If all of this were really meaningless noise, then why is everything suddenly tightening behind the curtain? People close to Jay-Z describe a shift from confident control to quiet containment. The meetings now aren't about denying anything. They're about managing exposure, minimizing what's already out there. Meanwhile, insiders claim Beyonce's patience has limits. She's not about to take on undefined risk, especially not the kind that could morph into financial loss or brand damage. Friends close to the couple say the arguments have gotten heated, loud enough for others to notice. And the tone isn't about betrayal or heartbreak, it's about business, liability, and survival. Their silence in public speaks volumes. It's calm on the surface, but behind it, insiders say the distance between them is real. They're reportedly not spending steady time together, and while that might once have been brushed off as gossip, in this moment, it feels like confirmation that something's seriously shifting. If this whole situation were truly harmless, then separation, temporary or not, wouldn't even be a topic of discussion. That's where the suspicion locks in. The reaction behind the scenes doesn't match the public claim that it's all nothing serious. And people are noticing. What's making things even messier is how lightning-fast old controversies are crawling back into the spotlight. The moment the Epstein documents start trending, archive reports about Jay-Z's past resurface, like his 1999 arrest for allegedly stabbing record executive Lance Rivera at a Manhattan club, a case that later ended in probation. That chapter was supposed to be history, long closed. But now it's being reframed as part of a bigger pattern of risky connections and volatile situations. And it doesn't stop there. Old lawsuits involving both Jay-Z and Sean Combs are now getting fresh attention too, specifically those tied to alleged incidents of intimate misconduct said to have happened at a 2000 VMA after-party, claims both men have always denied. The timing couldn't be worse. It's brutal. Even though these cases aren't legally linked, their sudden collision creates a magnetic pull that's impossible to ignore. People inside the industry are saying it straight. This stacking effect is what terrifies brands and partners the most. It makes the next headline feel inevitable, not just possible. Once the internet connects dots, every silence looks like guilt and every rumor feels like proof. And the worst part? The Epstein release isn't even done yet in the public imagination. It's still growing, still mutating, and the fallout hasn't even peaked. Even though officials claim the document release is complete, the Department of Justice quietly admits that around 200,000 pages are still being held back or redacted for privacy and privilege reasons, without giving any clear explanation of what's hidden. That missing piece becomes perfect fuel for speculation. A deputy attorney general even says out loud,
Jay?
Yeah.
At this point? I would want, why?
Right.
that there's a public hunger for information that these files won't satisfy. That statement hits like a warning shot. Insiders say this uncertainty is more dangerous than any single accusation because nobody can say with confidence that the worst has already come out. Every redacted page feels like a possible bomb waiting to drop, and every delay invites people to fill in the blanks with their own imagination. For a couple whose power has always come from controlling their image and message, that kind of chaos is unbearable. It's like standing on a fault line that won't stop shaking. By now, the neat official story that this is all just noise has completely fallen apart, replaced by a darker, quieter question that nobody dares to say out loud. If their marriage were truly built only on love, this would be handled behind closed doors. No cameras, no press leaks. But when that marriage is also a business, a brand empire built on global reputation, partnerships, and billions in positioning, then a scandal like this turns into a corporate emergency, not a romantic drama. People close to Beyonce say her fury isn't about jealousy. It's about exposure. It's about realizing that one name in one leaked document could put everything she's built at risk. The tension now isn't just emotional, it's strategic, financial, and it's shaking the foundation of their empire. The silence coming from both sides doesn't sound like denial. It sounds like strategy. With over 3 million pages already public and no full list of what's still sealed, the real question isn't if this will explode further. It's where the next crack will show when it does. What makes this stretch so dangerous isn't just the stack of allegations. It's how they collide with a long history that insiders say the industry's power players quietly remember all too well. People who've been around for decades admit this isn't the first time Jay-Z's image has taken a hit from legal shadows, but this time, the shock feels different. It lands harder because every part of his brand control is already being dissected. Incidents once brushed off as youthful mistakes or settled history now look freshly relevant, especially next to the current silence that feels heavier by the day. The difference now is scale. Back then, a narrative could be redirected through interviews, press drops, and well-timed humility. But in today's world, the internet doesn't wait for explanations. Claims travel faster than truth, and any connection, no matter how thin, to the Epstein universe makes the fallout multiply instantly. Insiders say this has triggered a total rethink, not just about how to talk publicly, but about where they're exposed: brand deals, charity projects, even political ties. This isn't about surviving a short-term scandal anymore, it's about identifying which doors need to close before pressure forces them open. Every partnership, every alliance is being quietly reviewed. And that reassessment, it doesn't stay personal. It spreads fast, pulling in business teams, lawyers, and anyone tied to the couple's empire. The silence now isn't peace. It's preparation for the next move. People familiar with the couple's business world describe it as a massive web of shared power, joint ventures, brand deals, licensing empires, all built on one crucial perception: unity and control. The moment that unity looks shaky, even slightly, the ripple effect hits fast. Industry insiders say that once counterparties sense tension, quiet inquiries begin almost immediately. Contracts get reviewed, optional clauses come off the shelf, and exit strategies get quietly drafted. Nobody has to make a public accusation. All it takes is uncertainty, and everything starts moving. Those close to the situation say that's exactly why Beyonce's reaction is being described as controlled fury. Not chaos, not panic, just cold, precise anger. Panic wastes energy. Control moves with intent. Her focus, they say, isn't on whether the claims are true. It's on whether Jay-Z's name still functions as an asset instead of a liability. That single question changes everything, turning the marriage from a personal bond under pressure into a billion-dollar structure being stress-tested in real time. The tension gets even heavier when Jay-Z's long-standing associations are pulled back under the microscope. His decades-long connection with Sean Combs, who's now facing his own legal storm, suddenly looks less like industry brotherhood and more like a red flag cluster. Sources say that pairing is being reevaluated at the highest levels. Two icons whose names keep colliding at too many questionable moments. Old footage resurfaces, quotes get dissected, charity appearances and award speeches are replayed through a brand new lens of suspicion. No new allegations are added, but the atmosphere changes completely. The stakes rise.
This is what I look for. When I see a success, I'm looking for anything
to say that they didn't do it on their own?
Detain it, yeah, detain it. Not
when multiple figures from the same powerful circle face simultaneous scrutiny, the industry tightens up. It's not just gossip anymore, it's risk management in motion. The environment turns cold, calculating, and absolutely unforgiving. In this moment, silence isn't seen as peace, it's seen as strategy. Every quiet pause looks calculated. Any defense sounds like guilt, and every bit of distance reads like an admission. That's why insiders say there's no big united statement from either side right now, just perfectly controlled silence. Every move, every word is measured not by how it feels today, but by how it might look tomorrow. Meanwhile, the legal tension around the Epstein disclosures keeps piling up, adding a pressure that outsiders can barely imagine. Lawyers tracking the case point out that even though many of the claims haven't been proven or tested in court, their very existence in federal archives changes everything. Once something's logged with the FBI, even if no charges follow, it becomes discoverable, searchable, and possibly usable in civil disputes later on. That one detail makes this entire situation explosive. Industry legal teams are already whispering about preemptive moves, document preservation, internal audits, private reviews, anything to get ahead before the next hit comes. Not because they expect charges tomorrow, but because in this environment, being unprepared is the biggest risk of all. The system rewards caution now, not confidence. And all that legal paranoia bleeds right into the personal side. When every email, text, or casual message could one day be twisted into evidence, the tension between partners spikes hard. Insiders say even the smallest interactions start feeling loaded. Every word has weight, every gesture gets second-guessed, and trust becomes something you check twice before giving. In a world where silence can be read as guilt, even love starts sounding like a legal risk. Every bit of proximity now feels like a business decision. The marriage isn't breaking apart in isolation, it's bending under the same heavy pressure that's making corporations back off and longtime allies quietly step away. What makes it even messier is that there's still no real finish line in sight. Officials keep saying the document dump is complete, yet the admission that thousands of pages remain redacted or withheld keeps everyone on edge. That lingering mystery is what keeps the anxiety alive. People close to the situation admit that uncertainty is worse than confirmation. At least with confirmation, you can manage it, make statements, control damage, move forward. But uncertainty, it spreads like wildfire. Every unanswered question sparks another rumor about what else could be buried, whose names might still appear, and when the next bomb might drop. At that point, this story stops being about one couple or one set of allegations. It becomes about how power itself reacts when forced into unwanted transparency. Insiders point out that this is exactly the type of chaos Beyonce has spent her entire career avoiding, through strict privacy, tight image control, and calculated exposure. So to see that fortress cracked open by forces completely beyond her reach is being described as intolerable by those closest to her. Her anger isn't performative, it's tactical, rooted in logistics, brand control, and long-term stability. As the tension builds, whispers around the marriage start sounding sharper, more deliberate. Friends say their public unity has always been part of the architecture, a stabilizing symbol for investors, fans, and the entire empire they've built. But now, that image of perfect alignment feels fragile, like one wrong move could shake the whole structure. When that public unity even slightly cracks, it sends a signal louder than any press release. Insiders say the rumored separation isn't about abandonment, it's about insulation. Creating physical distance gives room for emotional distance, and that emotional distance makes decision-making sharper, colder, and more strategic. It doesn't mean a full collapse is guaranteed, but it does mean priorities are shifting fast. Behind closed doors, the conversations aren't about what's already happened. They're about what could still happen. What if another document drops? What if a partner gets legally dragged in? What if staying silent stops working? These aren't questions about love, they're questions about survival. Each scenario gets weighed like a chess move while the public is busy reading surface clues. Meanwhile, the outside world keeps obsessing over every detail, every subtle appearance, every delay in posting, every profile picture that hasn't changed in weeks. The public dissects it all, searching for hidden meaning. Industry watchers say that kind of obsession is both useful and dangerous. Useful because it distracts from the real power plays happening off camera, but dangerous because it keeps pressure high and patience low. The longer the silence stretches, the wilder the theories get. People start filling in the blanks with their own assumptions, and that chaos becomes part of the problem. Insiders insist this is why no big move has been made yet, because once any decision becomes public, it collapses the one thing they still have left: optionality. And right now, optionality is their last real currency when control is slipping away.
As you guys are coming in that you can hear me and see me, I'm pretty sure that you can. This is some exclusive tea that I got.
Adding to the tension, there's a quiet rumor spreading through legal and entertainment circles that the exposure risk doesn't end with one name. Whispers suggest that more connections could surface, widening the blast zone. And if that happens, insiders warn, it won't just be a marriage under pressure. It'll be an entire network shaking at its core. People close to the situation say that a whole circle of longtime associates, business partners, collaborators, and social regulars from Jay-Z's orbit have suddenly gone still. No statements, no moves, no visible loyalty plays. Their silence isn't being read as support, it's being read as fear. These are people who once floated effortlessly through exclusive parties, after-hours meetings, and quiet backroom deals. Now they're unreachable, their phones cold, their meetings postponed indefinitely. Insiders say it's eerie, calls go unanswered, messages sit on read, and those who once bragged about access have gone completely dark. In a world where everyone's tracking who's speaking and who's vanishing, that silence stands out. It looks less like coincidence and more like containment, a quiet, unspoken agreement that visibility itself has become dangerous. Nobody wants to risk getting dragged into a bigger spotlight because even one misplaced comment could pull new names into the frame. That hush, though, is feeding a darker rumor that's now making its way through legal and industry circles. According to sources familiar with those closed-door talks, Jay-Z's legal team isn't just playing defense anymore. They're signaling something else: leverage, the whispered implication, Cooperation is on the table, not as an official move, but as a concept, a warning shot. Insiders describe an unsettling scenario where information becomes currency. Names, connections, past interactions, each one quietly floated as a bargaining chip to prove value if things escalate. The unspoken message underneath it all is chilling. There are others in this orbit with far more to lose if deeper scrutiny lands on them. That's the real subtext, according to those following closely. This isn't just about one man's reputation anymore. It's about a shifting balance of power where silence buys safety and secrets might just decide who takes the next fall. The game has turned from defense to strategy, and everyone's suddenly aware that the stakes couldn't be higher. Whether this leverage talk is a calculated move or just rumor, its circulation alone is shaking things up. The very idea that loyalty could be negotiable under pressure changes behavior across the whole network. Suddenly, every connection feels uncertain. Every ally starts second-guessing who's protecting who. Insiders whisper that the alleged goal of this behind-the-scenes leverage isn't just about dodging legal fallout, it's about controlling the narrative. The real target is media temperature, not courtroom outcomes. Industry sources describe a plan focused on shrinking the noise. Fewer headlines, fewer name drops, fewer echoes across mainstream platforms. It's not about erasing the records, it's about dulling their sting, slowly cooling the story instead of letting it ignite into a full public firestorm. And right here, the marriage becomes more than personal. It becomes symbolic. Jay-Z and Beyonce together have always stood for composure, empire, and untouchable control. Their unity projects stability, and that image acts like armor against chaos. Keeping their names separated from the most toxic corners of the scandal is now seen as a top priority. A containment move disguised as calm silence. That's why insiders say their public messaging feels frozen, cautious to the point of paralysis. It's not indecision, it's a strategy of survival. Every word is filtered, every action delayed, because one wrong move could reignite everything they're fighting to suppress. Right now, any loud denial could trigger escalation, and any emotional outburst could pull in new scrutiny. That's why silence, paired with quiet, careful negotiation, is being treated as the safest, least explosive move. It's not weakness, it's survival mode. But even so, these rumors are eating away at everything around them. Once the thought spreads that someone might trade information to save themselves, the entire network starts to corrode from within. Every alliance suddenly feels temporary. Every friendship starts to look risky. People who once seemed untouchable are now quietly running calculations, checking their exposure, reviewing their old ties, deciding who's worth standing next to. Industry insiders say this is exactly how power structures crumble. Not in one dramatic collapse, but through slow-motion distrust. Piece by piece, confidence erodes until no one knows who's safe, who's protected, or who might be sacrificed to hold the bigger structure together. And while all of that unfolds behind closed doors, the public only sees the calm surface, the carefully timed silences, the non-statements, the business-as-usual smiles. But insiders say what looks like quiet is really a storm of strategy underneath. Negotiations, recalibrations, and quiet exits happening in real time. By the time the world finally notices, the real decisions will already be made, the fallout sealed, and the power map quietly rewritten. What's left now is a shrinking corridor of outcomes, and none of them come out clean. If the allegations eventually fade, the damage might already be baked in. If they intensify, the fallout could stretch way past reputation, straight into legacy. If the marriage somehow holds, it'll be under brand new terms, rebuilt for survival, not sentiment. And if it breaks, it won't be heartbreak. It'll be a calculated move, a business decision wrapped in emotion. All of this is happening while the shadow of those Epstein files keeps reshaping the ground beneath them. Every new detail changes the landscape. Every silence feels like strategy. The real questions hang heavy and unanswered. Is this silence a shield or a countdown? Is the growing distance a pause or a warning of what's next? And maybe the hardest one, who's protecting who? And what's the real price of that protection? This story's not cooling off. It's still unfolding, twisting, and expanding right in front of us. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments. Argue it out, call out what you see, and tell us where you think this is headed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment, because this storm isn't ending anytime soon, and the next chapter might hit harder than anyone expects.